Okay, so I know that I have talked to you guys before about how I don't usually teach smudging. However, there are going to be occasions that I might want to use smudging. And remember that I have shown you how to do some smudging. And one of the ways that I do it is with cotton swabs or Q-tips. So I was using cotton swabs, medical cotton swabs, and most people use a tortillon, which I don't actually like to use that much because I find that they're expensive, and I'll show you why I don't like to use them in a moment. And I was running out of these medical Q-tips that I had purchased, and they're a little bit more dense and compacted, and so I found that they could get into smaller, tighter places in a drawing, and I needed to find something that would substitute for that. So I looked online, and it looked like you had to set up an account with some sort of big supplier like Uline in order to get those. And I couldn't find the ones that have a pointed, almost triangular tip to them. They only had the rounded tip like a regular cotton swab. And when I went online and looked on Uline, it was like $17. You had to set up an account, plus there was shipping, and they would only ship you 1,000 at a time. So you could buy more boxes, but that was what the size of the box was. And I felt like that's kind of a pain. It's a big process. And one day I happened to be shopping at Sephora and I found these. So let's take a look at the hand cam and I'll show you. These are called the Sephora Do-It-All Cotton Swabs. And I think they're the best solution for my very detailed smudging needs. So taking a look down at the hand camera, the tortillon you can get in different sizes, which is great. But for a package of these, it costs about $2. Or the little round wrapped ones. Tortillon really means just something that's twisted in French. So these are more of a condensed version, and they come in different sizes, but you can get the little wrapped ones that are the twisted pieces of paper. I think a package of the wrapped ones costs about $2. And the problem that I find is that when I use them to do a little bit of smudging, like I can here, they turn black. And then if I go to a light area, it smudges and transfers everything over. So that's why I don't use these very much when I'm smudging something, unless I know that I'm going to be equally smudging one large area with one particular value. Instead, I like to use Q-tips because those are disposable. And you can see that those smudge a little bit differently, maybe not quite as well, and they do transfer, but then if I wanted to smudge a light area, I could just use a different end. And what happens with the tortillons is that you use both ends and then it's very difficult to get a clean spot without buying a new package. So the medical swabs that I was telling you about, these are really great because they have this pointed end here as well as the Q-tip end. That's sort of like the rounded end. And they're nice because they have the wooden stick that they're wrapped around, so the density of these swabs are a little bit harder than these cotton swabs that have the cotton stick. So I like to use these, and you can see that what I can do is get in a really teeny spot and just smudge that area, and it will still transfer. So I will use a lot of these for different values. But the replacement that I found is the Sephora Do-It-All Cotton Swabs. It comes in a package of 490 and it was about $6. And because I have a Sephora locally, I can just drive to replace them. It's not a big deal. I don't have to set up an account and pay for shipping and all of that. So these, in comparison to these, look at how awesomely tiny and detailed they are. So just a teeny, teeny, teeny little area. So if I'm shading something that's very detailed and I need a small area that's shaded in and smudged in, I can go in there. And I think these two combined are going to be the best tools. And then if I have a large area, then I would probably go for a large tortillon. So let's look at a piece that I did with smudging, and I'll show you where I might go in with something of some detail. For example, to add more detail into the clouds, I would likely go in, this is a 7B, so it's a really soft pencil. So I would be likely to go in and add some detail in order to create some structure in those clouds. And then I can take my Sephora Do It All cotton swab. And because I don't want the clouds to be very structured, well, I want them to be structured, let's say this, I don't want them to be very textured. I can go in and smudge, and you can see it's just touching the smallest of areas. And creating some softness as well as creating some texture on those clouds. And then you can layer right on top and smudge again. And if you don't want the smudging to get darker, you can either pick a fresh spot or go ahead and pick a fresh Q-tip or cotton swab, and then it solves the problem. It's not going to smudge as well as the tortillon, but you again have that fresh quality so that you aren't transferring things onto the page. And you can see it's so dense that it's barely picking anything up to transfer onto the page, significantly less than with the medical cotton swab. So if you guys don't have a Sephora near you, I'm sure that this one won't be quite as much with shipping. You'll see. But I think it's a great solution for the detail that you might need in order to smudge with another substance other than your finger. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And check out the videos on smudging for a line quality and also why I don't always teach smudging. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, LZM Studio, where I frequently release quick tips and all kinds of different ideas about drawing. Also check out my Facebook and my Instagram page. I like to show photographs of my artwork, of my students' artwork, and share funny stories from my students on those pages. And then check out my website, lzmstudio.com, where you're going to find more inspiration and full-length, detailed tutorials.